In this test, I'll be testing 6 of the very best ultra high performance winter tyres on the market and comparing them against an all-season and a summer tyre. As with my all-season test published a couple of weeks ago, I have 6 of the very best winter tyres in 235, 35, 19 and a bunch of all-season tyres and a summer tyre. This is going to allow me to tell you not only which the best winter tyre is, because we'll be testing in the dry, wet snow and looking at the rolling resistance, noise and comfort levels of the tyre, but also give you an overview of how they compare to a good all-season tyre and of course how they compare to a summer tyre. This is going to be a really in-depth review of these 6 winter tyres. Let's get on with the testing. Snow handling. Now, these are winter tyres, so snow handling is very important for them. And you know what? The good news is, this is a good bunch of tyres. Even the budget tyre was under 5% off the best, and that's pretty small. The budget tyre was perhaps subjectively slightly worse than the rest, just in its predictability. But on this Golf GTI, every set of tyre, you think a Golf GTI would be fun in snow, but sadly, front wheel drive. It's just, give me a BMW 320d. Anyway, tyres. The next group of tyres was the Goodyear, Hankook and Continental. All of these were like 3% off the best, and they were all just nice to drive. The 3 of them did have a slightly similar style, and that is you just lacked a little bit of bite on turning from the front axle, which I think hurt the lap time. But none of them were leery, none of them were scary, and they were all predictable on this very windy circuit. So this is good news for those 3. Now, the top 2, you're going to be used to and surprised, Michelin and Pirelli. Now, I test blind, I've said this 100 times before, so that means I don't know what tyres I'm testing. And when I finished testing, I had a guess at which the Michelin was. I could kind of always know Michelin in the snow because they're generally the very best. Now, I went through my notes, averaged the data and did everything I needed to do, and the Pirelli was fastest. And I was so shocked by this, so used to the Michelin Pilot Alpine 5 being the very best of the best in the snow, I was convinced the tyre fitters had made a mistake. So I went and reran the entire test. And you know what? They didn't. The Pirelli felt more Michelin than Michelin. It had buckets of grip. It turned, like once it was turning, it was just great. It felt good on the brakes, good traction, as did the Michelin, but the Pirelli just had this ever so slight advantage. The thing that made it characteristically Michelin is around centre. It was just a little bit less rapid to respond, I guess, than the Michelin. But the 2 were very close. The 2 were both excellent tyres. But this new Pirelli P0 Winter 2, it's a big step on in the snow. Like, what an impressive product. Hopefully it can carry it over into the dry and wet, and Michelin can finally be challenged in the winter tyre test. As for the summer tyre, well, the summer tyre got me around the lap, but it's a summer tyre. And I did actually run a bunch of all-season tyres in the same test and during exactly the same program, so I could use the evolution points for the all-season. So the data finally, I tried this a few years ago, and the data is matching. And how do they compare? Well, there's going to be a separate video on the comparison. There's already my all-season tyre test out, but might be interested to know the Michelin Cross Climate 2 was as good as a winter tyre essentially in terms of lap time. What it did lack was just a little bit of finesse compared to the winter tyre when turning and predictability, but like very strong showing from the Cross Climate 2. Not all the all-season tyres were that strong, but the Michelin we know is always very good in the snow. Snow traction had Pirelli back at the front with the Hankook a small margin behind, though all the tyres performed well, even the budget tyre. Pirelli rounded out the snow test with another win in snow braking, confirming the new Italian tyre is now the king of snow, though the Michelin was very close in all the tests. Ice traction had the Michelin, Pirelli and Hankook all performing well, with the Goodyear and Continental struggling a little, which was also reflected in ice braking. You might notice an all-season tyre performing better than the winter tyres on ice. This was the budget tyre, and I'm certain it did not have an all-season compound in it. More details can be found in the all-season test video. So how do these ultra-high performance winter tyres compare in the wet? Well, unsurprisingly, the budget tyre was a smeary 10 seconds slower than the rest of the group, so don't buy cheap tyres. It's just something I have to say every video, and I prove it with data. I'm not just saying it, I'm actually proving my point. Look at the data. The rest of the tyres were pretty close. The Hankook was the next slowest, and these are ultra high performance winter tyres, and of the group, the Hankook didn't feel that ultra high performance as in terms of steering reactions and sportiness, but it felt very performancey in terms of safety. It was a very solid tyre. No surprises, predictable, good balance, just didn't quite have the ultimate grip. The Continental, a little bit ahead of it, pretty much the same feedback I had for the tyre. It was a little bit sharper on the front end, but again, it just felt more like a very solid tyre rather than one that's gonna make you smile. The top three were incredibly close. Michelin and Goodyear were both fabulous tyres to drive. Significant step on from the rest of the group so far in terms of sporty dynamics, and they just felt severely planted on the road. I know a lot of tyre companies develop a lot with the Golf GTI, but they both worked wonderfully with them. And it's nice to see Goodyear matching Michelin again, because I think in previous tests they haven't quite been there. Yeah, fabulous job, Goodyear. But there was one company that did a even more slightly fabulous job, and that was Pirelli with the new P0 Winter 2. As you know, I test blind. The Pirelli was set number 5, and as I was writing my subjective notes after coming in, I said, feels a lot like set 3, but only slightly better. And who do you think set 3 was? Well, if you've been following snow, it was of course Michelin. The new P02 seems to have taken the Michelin Pilot Alpine 5, which is a wonderful tyre, and just tweaked it better here in the snow, and it turns out tweaked it better here again in the wet. So I'm excited to see whether the Pirelli can do the triple header and beat it in the dry as well, because that would be incredible if it could do all three, because that Michelin has always been exceptionally strong in the dry, which you'll find out in a second. As for the summer and all-season tyres, well, the summer tyre was significantly faster in terms of, like in the all-season test, it was subjectively way better and dynamically way better. So even though these are ultra-high performance winter tyres, turns out an ultra-high performance summer tyre is obviously going to be better. It just doesn't have all that siphon movement in the tread pattern. And as for the all-season tyres, well, the P0 was faster than the fastest all-season tyre. This surprised me a little bit, but then I had a chat with some engineers, and they reminded me that these winter tyres I'm testing, they've been developed as ultra-high performance winter tyres. Whereas in Europe at least, there's no such thing as an ultra-high performance all-season tyre yet. Someone please make one, because I think it would be amazing and lots of people would buy it. So dynamically, the all-season tyres lost a little bit in terms of, I guess, not steering response dynamically, but just all round, they just didn't like being thrown around quite as much. Although it was very, very close, the best of the winter tyres did beat the best of the all-season tyres, which at this temperature, I was testing at 22, 23 degrees, I really didn't expect. So good work to the winter tyres. Let's see how they do in the dry, where I expect the all-season tyres will have the advantage. Goodyear continued its strong showing in the wet by having the shortest wet braking at warm and cool temperatures, and like in wet handling, the Michelin and Pirelli were also very strong. While Hankook and Continental were a little behind, it was never more than 5%, making this an extremely close group of tyres in the wet, if you ignore the budget tyre. The Hankook was the best in the straight aquaplaning test, but the Pirelli was the best overall in the deeper water if you combine straight and curved aquaplaning, details of which can be found on the link in the description. The best winter tyre in dry braking was the Hankook, but they were all within 3% of each other, including the budget tyre this time. They did all struggle compared to the best of the all-season tyres. Will this continue in dry handling? Dry handling, now this is interesting. Now, although I test blind, I always know my reference tyre. In this case, it was the summer tyre, and I always put the budget tyre first, because subjectively I'm going to know instantly which one it was. It was actually way better than I thought. Over a 90-second lap, it was only about 6 seconds down on the summer tyre, which is way closer than I expected. And, okay, honestly, it didn't feel that great. Sub-limit, because we do a lot of sub-limit or soft handling testing, and it had quite a lot of rear axle secondary steer, which is not what you want from the road, but overall I was like, wow, that's pretty good. Then I moved on to the rest of the winter tyre, and I was like, oh, actually, my expectations for ultra-high performance winter tyres was just a bit too low, because they all felt better than I thought they were going to fare. The two next tyres in time was the Hankook and Conti. Now, of the two, I did prefer the steering of the Hankook. It just felt a bit more predictable, a bit more linear, a bit more direct, whereas the Conti, very good tyre, good levels of grip, both of them, but a Conti felt like it was trying to be both sporty and keep comfort in its pocket, which is two difficult things. So when you turned, it turned really quickly initially, but then didn't feel that stable on the bumps on the track, and the car just felt like it was moving around on the tyre a little bit. So odd combinations of things. Good tyre. I might be able to see what they've tried to do. It just hasn't quite translated perfectly in this test of very good tyres. Then we had the final three tyres of the test, the Goodyear, Michelin and Pirelli. All these tyres were almost identical on time and they were all beautiful to drive. They did feel a little bit different. Of the three, the Pirelli had the lightest steering, and I think of the three, the Michelin by the tiniest of margins was my favourite because it just felt so rounded and even and lovely everywhere. But the Pirelli and Goodyear were both incredibly close, and the Pirelli by the smallest amount was the fastest. So I think anyone would be happy with any three of these tyres in the dry. They are wonderful ultra high performance winter tyres. As for the summer, like I did say, the summer was 6 seconds ahead of the budget tyre, and the subjective nature of the tyre just meant, especially under braking, as I've said a load of times before, you just felt like you had better brakes. The braking reaction was so much faster because you don't have the sipes moving and bending underneath you. And then the all-season tyres. Now, I think the average of the all-season tyres was faster than the fastest winter tyre, and the best all-season tyre was considerably faster around the lap. It didn't feel any more sporty, but like the summer tyre, you just felt more connected to the surface below, and you just had more grip to do things mid-corner. But excellent group of tyres. I mean, they've all performed admirably apart from the budget in most of the tests so far. So let's go look at what we've got left to talk about. As in the all-season test, the noise and comfort testing was sadly hampered by the weather. But with these all being 19-inch ultra high performance winter tyres, the differences are very small. The Pirelli had the lowest external noise, closely followed by the Michelin and Continental. Subjective internal noise was not possible on test day, but I didn't notice any tyre being particularly noisy in the vehicle when doing all my testing, even at high speeds. The Continental did have the smallest advantage in comfort, then it was the Michelin, and then the rest of the tyres kind of just merged into the same score. It was that close. All apart from, once again, the budget, which felt really flappy over big impacts. It was just like a long experience. Compared to the all-season test where we had a big spread, the rolling resistance of these winter tyres was almost identical, with all 6 tyres being spread by just 3.8%. Given a tyre uses about 1/5 of the energy for a regular vehicle, that small gap probably isn't worth basing your purchase choice on, even if you drive an EV. But if you are uptight, the budget tyre is best, but it's probably best to skip that one anyway. The final results were close, really close. I picked the very best tyres in this category, so really they're all good tyres. Other than, of course, the Goodyear Super Snow Z507, which, while it was better than expected in the grip test, just 15% off the best in wet braking and fine in snow, and had the best rolling resistance, subjectively it wasn't a pleasant experience. And it was really bad in the deep water of aquaplaning, which could have a large impact on its slushy snow performance. And sadly, slush is just impossible to test with any kind of regularity. So we're just having to assume something there. Next, we have the Continental and Hankook essentially finishing tied fourth. The Continental Winter Contact TS870P excelled in its consistency. It's just a shame that consistency was fourth, as it finished in fourth place in over half the tests. Its weakness was ice, but the rest of the testing was close enough to the front to still be considered a very solid tyre. Remember, as I said, this group of tyres is incredibly close. It had the best comfort, it was good in the deep water of aquaplaning, and it has a very low rolling resistance. The Hankook Winter Icept Evo 3 was the best in dry braking, overall the best in the deeper water of aquaplaning, and it was very good on ice. It struggled a little bit in snow traction, finishing last 9.1% off the best, and subjectively it has fallen down the order a little, but the margins are so close, this is still a very good tyre. The Goodyear Ultra Grip Performance 3 finished in third place. The Goodyear was the wet grip specialist, offering the best braking at both temperatures we tested at and the best around the handling lap, which might make it the best for your winter climate if you get a lot of wet like the UK. Like the Continental, it had a very low rolling resistance, and like the Continental, it just wasn't the best on ice, sadly. Finally, the GOAT of the UHP winter tyre segment, the Michelin Pilot Alpine 5, is now having to share its top spot with the new Pirelli P0 Winter 2. The Michelin did have a tiny advantage in dry braking, wet braking and ice braking. It had a slightly lower rolling resistance and slightly better comfort. As always, the Michelin felt lovely sub-limit subjectively, especially in the dry. It might be the granddad of the test field, having been on the market over 5 years, but it's still performing incredibly well. On the flip side, the new Pirelli had higher grip in the dry and wet handling. It swept all the snow tests, winning snow braking, snow traction and snow handling. It tied with the Michelin in ice traction and was the quietest tyre in test. It was also subjectively lovely, especially in the wet, but it did finish behind the Michelin in rolling resistance, a huge 1.8%. which is 0% at the pumps almost. It is a really exciting time for ultra high performance winter tyres. While there is still no one tyre that does everything perfectly, there's now two that get pretty darn close. This test was a test designed to find the best of the best of the best. And while the new Pirelli technically takes it by 0.05% overall after 17 tests across 2 countries with my own score weighting, I am still calling this a tie for first place. Remember, you can change the score weighting yourself over at tyrereviews.com. Subscribe for the next piece of information that's going to cover the all season versus winter versus summer really in depth. Any questions, please ask below. Review your tyres at the link in the description, and as always, safe motoring.